driving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. Just making sure. One more. The setup's a little different. I don't like this because then I'm not looking right at the person. Because my camera's over there. So I'm going to do some quick changes here. That just feels very impersonal. I like my... There we go. Ooh, it's all swinging around. Ooh. Okay. This is my new office. You're not going to tell much of a difference. Well, the lighting's a big difference. I like the lighting. So that's nice. Yeah. Yay. Welcome to Daily Trudge. Today we're going to be talking about Tradition 8. I love Tradition 8. We don't talk about it much. A lot of things to be talked about in the program. There's steps, there's traditions, there's principles, there's more. Concepts. That's what I was looking for. One thing I did want to talk about before I get started today was relapse. Is relapse a part of recovery? Right? If relapse is not a part of your recovery, then relapse is not a part of your recovery. If relapse is a part of your recovery, then relapse is a part of your recovery. It all depends on the person, man. Why are we arguing about this? People are like, don't tell people that it makes you go out and drink. No, what the fuck it doesn't. We're telling them it's okay to go out and drink. If they're going to find a reason, if they're looking for a reason, they're going to find it. Don't sit there and tell me that I have the power to make other people go out and drink. Come on. Okay? I'll tell you what it is. This is what I see. I see people that have a problem with it. The fact that they didn't relapse, they feel like maybe, I don't know, they're better than you. Because that's how it sure comes across when you say that relapse is not a part of recovery. No, it wasn't a part of your story. All right? We got to be more open-minded than that. If that's what we're going to get snagged up in, hit the fucking road. We don't need you. Seriously. Okay? Let people have their own damn program, for God's sakes. Okay? I relapsed 22 times in 2 years. You don't think that was a part of what was going on with me? Okay. Thanks. I'm glad I didn't have your support when I got sober, because I wouldn't. It's people like that that make me wonder how the fuck I got sober. I'm glad I was in this program before. All right. Let's go ahead and do introductions and get started on Tradition 8. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I'm going to be your host today. If you're here, please say hello. Whether you're watching live or rewatch, looks like we got some people on right now. You're not required to say hello. It's not your job. Well, this is an anonymous fellowship, right? And if this is an anonymous fellowship, then it wouldn't be very nice of me to say, you gotta say something. Anyway, let's get started. What I don't like about this is you don't get the hearts and the likes and that is kind of cool. That was kind of nice on Facebook. Anyway, Tradition 8. I'm going to be reading out of the 12 by 12. Make sure you have hard copies of this stuff. Okay? Make sure you have hard copies. Tradition 8. Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. Hi, Chris. Good to see you. Welcome. I'm just getting started on Tradition 8, so you're just in time, brother. You walked in just in time. You know I screw around the first 3 to 5 minutes. Not screw around, but no. Most days I screw around. Today I actually talked about something. So, Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. Okay, we have a service center. It's in New York, and we do hire people, usually non-alcoholic. Okay, why? Because an alcoholic come along and bitch, why can't we have it? Because there would be clamor. There would be clamor for that job. And sorry, alkies, you can't have it. It's called healthy boundaries. Okay, why? Because we alcoholics and addicts aren't very good with power and control and the like. We're just not. So sometimes we have to rely on other people to help us with that. And you'd be surprised how many people out there love AA that are not in AA, but they love AA because AA saved their son's life or their husband's life or their daughter's life or their wife's life or somebody in their life. Okay. Everywhere I go, I recover out loud. I will look for excuses to talk about what it is that I do at all times. And you'd be amazed. Okay. Yesterday, my phone rang. I already told this yesterday. I'm going to tell it again today because this is what's called service work. My phone rang and it was stupid Google again. Weird, they haven't called since. They were calling me like 5 times a day. And I had asked them a couple of times to take me off their list. They just got pissy with it. So this time I'm like, you know what? I am going to be overly nice to this person and see what happens. And she picked up the phone. She said, hey, can I help you? Or it was whatever their line is opening up, right? And I said, yes, I'd like to speak to a supervisor. She said, well, I could certainly get you a supervisor, but is there something I can help you with? And I said, if you're willing to listen to me, yes. Notice what I said. Right? I'm talking AA. Yes, if you're willing to listen, then that's fine. And I was okay with that. I explained to her what kind of work I do, that I work, with drug and alcohol. And I'm just not a big business and I don't need Google. I don't promote. And she goes, well, I've been in the program for 2 years. And she took all my information out. Okay? They're not going to contact me again. Okay? But because I decided to be nice, I made somebody else's day. And we have another member trudging together. Just another member, like me, that can help. All right, let's get to the actual reading. Alcoholics Anonymous will never have a professional class. We have gained some understanding of the ancient word, freely ye have received, freely give. We have discovered at the point of professionalism, money and spirituality do not mix. Almost no recovery from alcoholism has ever been brought about by the world's best professionals, whether medical or religious. We do not decree professionalism in other fields, but we accept the sober fact that it does not work for us. Every time we have tried to professionalize our 12th step, the result has been exactly the same. Our singleness of purpose has been defeated. That right there is why you hear me say and discuss all the time the bullshit that happens in our industry. They're literally trying to, what the fuck's an all recovery meeting? Please. And why are businesses opening all recovery meetings? Why is a business running an all recovery meeting? Money, 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 money. Sober livings, money. RCOs, money. Recovery coaching, money. Peer support specialists, money. It's all about money. In fact, this afternoon, I'm going to be coming on and talking about sober livings. Yep. I'm tired of their fucking around. They're screwing around. Alcoholics simply will not listen to a paid 12 stepper because now you have skin in the game. Okay. This is why it was hard for me to work at Detox. My morals wouldn't let me do it. I had a hard time with it because I felt like I was being paid to 12 step and I couldn't do it. I was also the only peer support specialist in there that believed in AA. Now, I'll tell you something. Okay? I'd bring up, hey, why don't we have any AA literature? There's more to AA. I know. I understand that. I can tell you, though, since I have discovered these other pathways, I've utilized them 2-3 times, maybe. I've never sent anybody to Smart Recovery. They don't want it. They don't want it. They'd rather go to Celebrate Recovery than Smart Recovery. Smart Recovery just feels like too much work. Sounds like, though, it's smart. It's Smart Recovery. Does that mean the rest are dumb? Just watch other people's intentions. All right. Almost from the beginning, we have been positive that face-to-face work with the alcoholic who suffers could be based on only the desire to help and be helped. When AA talks for money, whether at a meeting or to a single newcomer, it can have a very bad effect on him too. The money motive compromises him in everything he says and does for his prospect. This has always been so obvious that only a very few AAs have ever worked a 12-step for a fee. And that's actually going around now. You can hire somebody to go through the steps with you. Shame on you. Shame on every single one of you for that. Do not come across my purview. Do not appear in my distance. Do not appear in my eyesight, because I will do or say something. I will. Hey. Every time I go to a live meeting, I'm walking women out. Right? These recovery coaches, these sober livings, they're killing us. Why is our AA convention in a fucking park this year? Just asking. What happened? We used to have these in nice, at least decent hotels. Are we so broke? Do we have so many people left AA or not tried AA because we're not doing it the right way that that's what we're down to? For somebody that's been in the program for, a little bit, that's scary. Well, it's always been that way. You've been here for a year. Come on. No, it hasn't always been that way. You think AA hasn't changed. You think people haven't changed. I had to give in some too. I'm of a very rough AA. Chris gets this. I'm of a rough AA, man. If you spoke, this is what you got. Shut your fucking mouth. Shut up and listen. This is what they would tell you. Take the cotton out of your ears, shove it in your mouth, because that's going to be your best thing. Learn it. And that's what it was about. Okay? It was learning a skill. That's a skill. Learning to keep your mouth shut is a skill. Okay? What they were doing is they were actually protecting that person from creating more problems for themselves. They weren't being rough. They were just doing it the way that they knew how. Unfortunately, you know, never mind. Despite this certainty, it is nevertheless true that few subjects have been the cause of more contention within our fellowship than professionalism. Caretakers who swept floors, cooks who fried hamburgers, secretaries in offices, authors writing books. All these we have seen hotly assailed because they were, as the critics angrily remarked, making money out of AA. See, you see now why when we employ special workers, they're non alcoholic. Because otherwise, this bullshit happens. Well, I want to be at the top. I want everybody to know it. I want to be the speaker. See, that's what it's all about now out there. I'm a fantastic speaker. I know because people have told me. Go listen to my podcast. I'm very, very good at this stuff. They don't ask me. They don't ask me for reasons. The reason being is I will take the limelight. I'm like that. But I only take my share and then I step down. Right? I'm going to tell you, I love being in the limelight. I love doing this. I especially love doing it when people are here because I have their attention. Okay? This is kind of sick behavior. I'm just being honest with you. Okay? So what do I have to do? Well, humility. Humility. Okay, Dion. One person a day. I try from, oh God, I can do that. We can do that. One person a day, Dion. One person. All right? Now, I've probably already done that. I don't know. Blessed are the poor, is what the Bible says. Yeah, I'm broke, but I'm blessed. Okay, I'm genuinely happy. I don't have any money. Actually, I do. I have a little bit of money right now. I'm going to spend it on Mother's Day. Oh yeah, I'm not spending it on me. I'm spending it on Mother's Day because I get to. Because I get to. Not for any other reason. Ignoring the fact that these laborers were not 12-stop jobs at all. The critics attacked the AA professionals, these workers of ours who were often doing thankless tasks that no one else could or would do. Even greater fervors were provoked when AA members began to run rest homes and farms for alcoholics. Huh, what does that sound like? This can get so fucking confusing. It can. Even I'm still figuring it out little by little, right? Because I can't make money for doing 12-step work. I just can't. That's why I'm doing it through fundraising. Okay? Fundraising is where I'm going to make my money. Right? That has nothing to do with AA. Those fundraisers are actually done in the community with a lot of people not in the program. They're usually people, you're talking about people with a lot of money who want to help the community and need a tax write-off. Okay? That's what we're talking about. But the moment that you start going for grants or applying for Medicaid, you are now under a different set of rules. And I'm telling you, it's hard to follow those rules as a person in recovery. That's why I don't do it. I could easily write grants for the things that I do. Yeah, money is good when you're hungry. I love you, Chris. See, look at you. Don't tell me you don't help people. You help me all the time. So, all right. Began to run rest homes and farms for alcoholics when some hired out to corporation as personal men in charge of these alcoholic problem and industry, when some became nurses of alcoholic wards, when others entered the field of alcoholic education. In all these instances and more, it was claimed that the AA knowledge and experience were being sold for money. Hence, these two people too were professionals. Okay, here's the key. Service work first. Service work, AA work first. Okay. What kind of person would I be? Let's say I was a recovery coach, and there's nothing wrong with recovery coaches done the right way. Okay. And I have 4 clients, but I have no sponsees. And I don't go to meetings anymore. Just saying. Okay. So, because I've worked detox before, but I had a job. My job was to make sure these people didn't die, that these people got the resources that they needed. That's what it was about. Okay. So when it comes to recovery coaching and things like that, a client comes on and they just bring them in. If there's no thought process on whether this person is good for what they are doing or not. I'll go into that into sober living a little bit later. Unless, however, a plain line of cleavage could be, it's not an appropriate word now for this. At last, however, a plain line could be seen between professional and non-professionalism. When we had agreed that the 12th step couldn't be sold for money, we had been wise. But when we declared that our fellowship couldn't hire service workers, nor could any AA member carry knowledge into other fields, we were taking a counsel of fear. Fear which today has been largely dispelled in the light of experience. Okay. So see, there is an answer. Balance, right? And isn't that what I was talking about? You got to have sponsees too. If you're going to work in the field, you sponsees and AA still come first. And the people in your field should know this. They should agree with you. If not, you're working in the wrong place. Take the case of the club janitor and cook. If a club is going to function, okay, you got to remember they loved their food back then. Clubs don't serve food anymore. You can't do it like you could back then. It has to be habitable and hospitable. We tried volunteers who were quickly disenchanted with sweeping floors and bringing coffee 7 days a week. That's why you turn it around. You switch it up on them. Okay. They just didn't show up. Even more important, an empty club couldn't answer his telephones. See, alcoholics are unreliable. But but it was an open invitation to a drunk on a binge who possessed a spare key. So somebody had to look after the place full time. If we hired an alcoholic, he'd receive only what we'd have to pay a non-alcoholic for the same job. The job was not to do 12-step work. It was to make 12-step work possible. It was a service position, pure and simple. And there we are. There we are. What is the 8th tradition? The 8th tradition is all about creating service work. Isn't that cool? I think that's freaking awesome. It's something I do. What do you think trudging together is? It is the epitome of tradition 8. All it does is create service work. It's all it's there for. It's a non-entity. You can't do anything to it. There's nothing, and it feels weird because there's nothing to sell there. You go there, there's nothing for you to be sold on. There's podcasts to listen to. There's things to read. There's, And that's what it's about. It creates service work. Telling our stories is service work. You see it? Do you see how that works now? Okay. Opening up a house, doing things. Opening up a sober living creates service work. Okay. It should. It should. Done the right way, if people weren't after the money, okay, well, I'll talk about it later. All right. Neither could AA self function without full time workers. Do you know how many phone calls a day AA gets? I'm sure it's a lot. I don't know. I have no clue. I'm sure it's a lot. In the intergroup offices, we couldn't employ non alcoholics as secretaries. We had to have people that knew the AA pitch. But the minute we hired them, the ultra conservative and fearful ones shrilled professionalism. At one period, the status of these faithful servants was almost unbearable. Okay. Your best bet if you're making money from doing this is not to do it through AA. Okay. Go work for Mental Health Corporation of Denver or Aurora Mental Health. One of these bigger places. You will get more out of it. I know that it seems redundant with the things that I talk about, but these smaller ones are just out there to try and do their own thing. Okay. I was looking at a sober living the other day. It said 12-step based. And then below it says, we give you access to churches and stuff. That's not 12-step based. Sober livings, there's too many. Number one, there's too many. Okay. And you need to be having AA meetings in house. Whoop. You need to have AA meetings in house. All right. At times, they were actually shunned by fellow members. Ouch, man. At times, they were, even the charitably disposed described them as a necessary evil. Committees took full advantage of this attitude and to depress their salaries. They could regain some measure of virtue, it was thought, if they worked for a real cheap. Isn't that just, you know what that is? Stigma. Stigma. Okay. That right there. So why should an alcoholic have to work for real cheap? Why? That's not fair. That's stigma. Absolutely, Mandy. About the only sober livings, and it may be different in your area, but about the only decent ones here are Oxford. I've tried, and I have intentionally tried to look for good. Maybe I'll reach back out to Kevin again. I've been looking for decent ones here. And the funny thing is this, I've found some, I go to help them, I help them, and then they act like I'm a fucking leper. That tells me they're doing something they're not supposed to be doing. That tells me that they used me for something. So I've been trying. I have, but I haven't found one that's any good. I haven't found one that's any good that's open. So, hey, Mandy, maybe you and I could sit down and talk about it because it sounds like you have some more knowledge on it, which is cool. That'd be fun. Maybe you and I can sit down and do one today. We are part of the team, right? All right. Yeah, do you guys know that Trudging Together has a whole team? Includes Mandy, right? Chris is part of our team. Okay. You know what Chris does? He supports us. Okay? I've known Chris since I was 19. He's like an older brother to me. Okay. Gary's on our team. Amber, you guys see Amber every now and again on here, right? Amber's on our team. Mary's on. One of my sponsees is on our team. Yeah. We got like 5, 6 people, and we're all doing stuff together. Yeah. And it's working really, really nice. Our numbers have doubled since they started their podcast. It's pretty good. All right. I'm so far off. These notions persisted for years. Then we saw that if hardworking secretary answered the phone dozens of times a day, listening to 20 wailing wives, arranged hospitalization, and got sponsorship for 10 newcomers, and was gently diplomatic with the irate drunk who complained about the job she was doing and how she was overpaid, then such a person could surely not be called a professional AA. Oh, hi, Amber. Your ears burning. And what's neat is I'm like the older one. Oh, how can I forget Stacy? Stacy's like my right hand girl. I love Stacy. And I didn't put this together. God did it. God did it. He put me in contact with these people on purpose. All right. She was not professionalizing the 12 steps. She was just making it possible. She was helping to give the man coming in the door the break he ought to have. Volunteer committeemen and assistants could be of great help, but they could not be expected to carry this load day in and day out. It's a wee thing. It's just as important, and I haven't done this, but it is just as important to become a member of your local AA club, because what they do is they provide service work. Our clubs is all about Tradition 8, okay? And if you guys are just coming in, Tradition 8 is about creating service work, right? How much longer does this have? I'm talking 30 minutes, okay. At the foundation, the same story repeats itself. 8 tons of books and literature per month do not package and channel themselves all over the world. Sacks of letters on every conceivable AA problem, ranging from the lonely art Eskimo to the growing pains of thousands of groups, must be answered by people who know. Right contacts with the world outside have to be maintained. AA's lifelines have to be tended. So we hire AA staff members. We pay them well. And they earn what they get. They are professional secretaries, but they certainly are not professional AAs. They deserve to make a good living. I believe that all of us deserve to make. There again. I'm not gonna. Yeah, PPC. Everybody here knows. Most everybody here knows about Primary Purpose Club. I'm going to be telling my story there next week, next Saturday, for anybody that wants to come. I will have 7 years of sobriety tomorrow. I have this weird feeling I'm probably going to make it. I'm very proud of myself. Perhaps fear will always lurk in every AA heart that one day our name will be exploited by somebody for real cash. It's actually happening. Even the suggestion of such thing never fails to whip up a hurricane, and we have discovered that hurricanes have a way of mauling with equal severity, both just and unjust. They're always unreasonable. Let's see what we can do, Chris. All right? I'd like to have you there. I'm going to ask Gary if he'd be willing to pick you up, because I think he's got a good card for it. If not, we'll figure it out, though. We'll get you there, Chris. No individual has been more buffeted by such emotional gusts than those AA bold enough to accept employment outside agencies dealing with the alcoholic problem. A university wanted an AA member to educate the public on alcoholism. A corporation wanted got two. Corporation wanted a personal man familiar with the subject. A state drunk farm wanted a manager who could really handle inebriates. A city wanted an experienced social worker who understood the alcohol. See, these are all different things that we can do. And that's why I say there's nothing wrong with the concept or the job of a recovery coach. There is nothing wrong with the idea of a sober living and reintegration back into life, if that's what we are doing. If, okay, any sober living that does not have something to, like, an end date. Why do so you see, there needs to be a plan, and that plan needs to have a time. I've been living in sober living for 3 years. What? Move the fuck out, man. Move out. Actually, that'd be a good person to be a manager. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they lived there for 3 years, never did any of the work. Okay? Never did the work. Okay, so what is the actual intention of a sober living? Half the times I hear people using drugs, and that there's half the places don't even have a manager in them because there's too many of them and not enough people with enough time. So there's balance in all this. Am I a professional? I don't know. I'm going to have to say yes. I was a drug and alcohol counselor. At 20, I had my CAC. Okay? I have a ton of experience, and I'm pretty educated on a lot of this. A lot of people are surprised when I tell them I got my GED. That's it. The rest of it has been self-education, man. Going to meetings, doing this work. Yeah. All right. That's enough out of me for now. I'll be back again later. I'm really going to think on whether I'm going to come back on and do a sober living. Just because I'd rather be more prepared and get more information for you. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I love you. Peace out and have a day.